So you want to feel less anxious this year. You're motivated, but your New Year's resolutions right now are looking more like hope than they are a plan for change. In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn hope into goals that lead to change by using techniques from therapy. Hi, I'm Kira, a registered psychotherapist who helps women who are overthinkers and overachievers manage their anxiety so they can do more of what matters to them. People come into therapy with a hope for change, and it's my job as a therapist to turn those into actionable goals and develop a plan for change. Common wishes that overthinkers and overachievers come to me with are to not feel anxious, to stop being my own worst critic, to stop overthinking everything I say or do, to be confident, to love myself, to not be a burden to others, to stop feeling anxious about everything, to be able to send an email without checking it 50 times, to give a presentation without feeling anxious, to say no to someone without feeling guilty. Do any of these wishes encompass your hopes for change? These are all reasonable aspirations, and it makes sense why you'd want these to change. The trouble is, these goals are bound to fail as they are right now. So if you set one of these as your New Year's resolutions, you're kind of setting yourself up for disappointment. The good news is, using tips from therapy, we can change these into doable goals. Let's fix these up then. The first two goals are what therapists call dead person's goals because a dead person can do it better than you can. Let's change these to living person goals. Ask yourself, if I wasn't feeling anxious, what would I be doing more of? What would I be doing less of? If I wasn't my own worst critic, ask yourself, how would I be treating myself differently or others differently? How would I be more present in my life? Or if you stopped overthinking, what would you be doing differently? What would I see you doing differently in your life? What would you be focusing on instead? So, depending on your answers to these questions, these goals might end up looking like go to the yoga class that I've been too nervous to attend, treat myself with compassion when I'm struggling, learn to be mindful of my thoughts and unhook from them. The next two goals, love myself and be confident, are too vague to be goals. To make these more specific, ask yourself, what does it look like to love myself? If I were feeling confident, what would I be doing differently? What would I start or do more of if I felt confident and loved myself? Who would you make plans with rather than avoid? What would people notice that you're doing differently or treating yourself differently? Everyone's answers to these questions are going to be different. It may be that loving yourself means treating yourself with the same kindness that you treat a loved one. Being confident usually translates to respecting your own boundaries by learning how to be assertive and building mastery. The last four goals are specific, but they're what we call emotion goals. Essentially, what they say is, I want to stop feeling a certain way, shameful, anxious, guilty. The underlying goal is to control how you feel, to get rid of the bad feelings and replace them with good feelings. Since we can't actually get rid of feelings, and I explain why in this video, let's reframe the goal of controlling emotions to learning new skills to manage difficult emotions. So the goals might change to look like to recognize the dignity and value of every human being and how we each deserve to be supported by others. The action plan may include learning to unhook from the thought, I'm a burden, to send an email after proofreading it once and use mindfulness and breathing to manage my fear of being judged negatively. Step one of the action plan would be to learn mindfulness and breathing techniques, to give a presentation and use grounding and visualization to manage my feelings of anxiousness. One step in the action plan would be to learn grounding and visualization techniques, to say no to someone, recognizing the guilt-ridden thoughts are often unhelpful. The action plan would include learning different ways to say no, assertiveness skills, and possibly conflict resolution. These goals are bound to be more successful than be less anxious in 2023. I hope you found something of value here and you've learned more about how to achieve your New Year's goals as an overthinker and overachiever.